Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I'm going to speak about a photography lethal accident. Easy, no one has died, but my film negative, yes. I'm going to speak about all the problems that may occur when you do film photography, every step, every stage, and what can happen, and maybe how to avoid these problems. So let's start. A few weeks ago, I went to Fuerteventura with Claudia Reyes. We went to make pictures for Gibaud filters. Soon I will show a video on my channel to show what we did. But then I thought I could also do other things. So I thought of getting my Hasselblad 503 CW with the new Kodak Gold 200 in 120 format. That's Kodak started to produce them again. So I thought, well, great. So I made the making of, I made the pictures, and I showed how I made the picture, I explained all that, I recorded all that, and I was really happy to have a new video for my channel. So when I came back to Tenerife, I went to the lab where I normally go, and I developed the film. I picked up the film, I scanned it myself using this system. I'll leave you a video here. I make pictures of the negative. And something strange happened. There were some brown areas, scratches, many things. So the brown areas, I thought it was my fault. Maybe there was a side light when I was making picture of the negative. But then I did it in the dark again, same problem, and then I realized it was the negative. So yeah, they ruined my negative. There was a problem in the lab. So I thought it was a good idea to speak about all the problems that may happen when you do film photography, from the moment you decide to make the picture until you get it in your hand. Okay, so there is many steps and many things may go wrong. So I thought it would be interesting to speak about it. If you do film photography, maybe try to avoid this problem. And if you don't do film photography, maybe to be even happier to do digital photography, doesn't really matter. So we're going to speak about this and try to avoid these problems. So I'm not telling the name of the lab because I've made many film with them and never had any problem, and this may happen. There are so many steps when you do something that something may happen. So I think when you have a problem with the lab, if it's the first time you use them, well, you don't know if they usually work that bad, but if it's first time there is a problem and before you never had any problem, I think it's better to speak with them, show them the problem, explain what, ask for some explanation, trying together to find some kind of solution that will help you in the future, but also help them, help their other clients, because sometimes it's just because the machine has a problem, or maybe the chemistry has a problem, or maybe the employee was manipulating the film is new and didn't know how to do it, or didn't do it properly. So speaking is the only way to better the situation. Okay, obviously if it repeats every time, it's time to look for another provider, logically. But in this case, I really prefer to try to find a solution with them, help them, and find some better future for more films. Okay, so this is why I'm not telling the name. If you have not done it yet, I'm going to ask you for a small favor. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That really motivates me, really helps me doing more content. So there's a small button down here that says subscribe. Also a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. Thank you very much. So let's carry on. Well, when I thought about all the problems that could happen when doing film photography, I counted about 12 or 13 points. So I'm going to speak about them to see what can happen, what can actually go wrong, and maybe this way avoid these problems. Okay. First, the state of your film. This is really important. When is it out of date? Maybe it's been out of date for many years. Or maybe it's not out of date, but it was in a really hot place and it's been damaged. So it's really important the way you take care of your film, keep them in the fridge to make sure they are not overheating, and take them out of the fridge when you need it. Don't have them in your bag all the time when you're not going to use them, okay? Because they get damaged. Also, if you travel, when you go through an airport check, you may have X-ray that damage your films. Normally under 1600 ISO ASA, there's no problem, okay? Actually in Spain, they will not accept to do a manual check if it's under 1600 ISO, okay? So there are also some bags to put your film in there, but take into account that it's not the same thing. A film that is like a 135, which is in a canister, metal canister, than 120 that is just covered by paper, a film plane, like a large format, because in this case there is no protection whatsoever. So there are also some small bags that you put your film in there, and they actually protect from my X-ray. But take this into account, that taking care of your film before using it is really important, okay? Second point, the condition of your camera. It must be leak proof. I don't speak about water, I don't speak about dust, I speak about light leaks. There is some foam stopping light from getting in, and this is really important that they are okay. Also, it's important that speed are right, that the shutter is working properly, opens and closes at the right speed, all this. So it's important to check that your camera is okay, otherwise the film may be perfect, but then you have light leaks or wrong exposure due to a faulty camera. So it's important to check this too, okay? Third point, you may have some problem manipulating your film when you place it into the camera. I've seen some people using 120 film and placing it the wrong way, so they're actually exposing paper instead of exposing film. So that may be a problem. Or sometimes your film is not properly hooked, so you're actually making picture, but the film is not advancing, so you are not making any pictures. So when you get to 36, you thought you happily made a picture, 36 pictures, and you made nothing. So it's important that on most camera, when you actually cock the shutter and advance the film, the other side should turn also. Or on my Hasselblad, you have a small number that confirms that is advancing, but make sure this is properly placed in the camera, and your film will be properly exposed, not because it's in the canister or stuck in one part of the camera, it's not moving forward, okay? So it's really important to check this. You may have some problem when placing the film too. Point number 4, well, same as digital photography, the exposure. I mean, if you don't calculate properly the exposure, your film may be really overexposed or really underexposed, and you don't know it until you develop the film. So in digital, you would know straight away, but it's really important that you check that the exposure is well calculated. Maybe use a light meter, or your camera has a light meter too. Make sure they both work, either they work properly, okay? And also sometimes you read f2 and you don't take care, you've put on f20. Obviously you have to be really concentrated, because exposure is really important too, obviously. Also the speed, maybe the speed is too slow, it will be blurred, okay, motion blurred. Make sure everything is well calculated when making the picture, obviously. Also advise that you make a small investment when you start with a new camera, and you have a light meter, or your camera has a light meter. Spend 1 or 2 rolls and development on testing it. It means you make like whatever, same picture of the same place, make several pictures at different aperture, different speed, to try to calibrate exactly, to know exactly if when it says 1/25th of a second, if it's really this and not 1/150th and things like this, which is not a problem if it's not exactly the same, but it's important that you know it. And also check your light meter, whether the one in the camera or the one you have in your hand. Check that everything corresponds. This way you will get a proper exposure, because you know that if there's small deviation, you can actually compensate it because you know it exists, okay? So make these small investments, that really helps you. Point number 5, when removing the film, you may have some problems too. Once I was speaking with a guy, I was not really concentrated answering question, and I finished my Hasselblad roll, okay, roll in my Hasselblad, and straight away I opened the drawer of the back. I didn't realize I had not finished to roll the film. So I closed it straight away. It was really dark, so it was okay. I lost only 2 pictures, okay? But this could have happened in bright light like this. I would have lost everything. Or sometimes some people, same thing with a 135 film, they forget to roll the film, to roll it back, and then to rewind it. And then they open the camera and the film is fully there, and they lose everything. Or sometimes it happened to me recently on 2 cameras, on my Leica M4P and also on a K&F camera I will present really soon. I rewind the film, and then it was really loose. I thought, wow, the film is not rolling here. It's really too loose, okay? I was like rewinding, and I realized the film had cut. I went over 36 pictures, and there's some kind of sellotape that pasted the film in the canister, and it cut. So I realized that, And with my experience, I noticed that tension was not enough. It was something wrong. So I got two films with the same film. So I think there was also a small problem with it. But what I did is I went into a dark room, and then I opened the camera. I saw the film was fully out of the canister, so I manually placed it back in there. It was really hard, not seeing anything, but I could save both film. Okay, so I advise when you rewind your film, place you here next to the camera, move like this, and you should hear the film that is moving. When you get almost to the end, you will hear like cluck, cluck, cluck. This is the end of the film that is touching the border, and then it gets fully in the canister, and then you hear shh, like this, okay? And when you keep rolling, it goes like a spring, it goes like whoop, like this, okay? So pay attention to that, because you may have a problem when rewinding the film too, okay? Point number 6, there are still some risk after this, because when you transport the film, if you have a 120 film, you normally have a sellotape. You actually wet it and you stick it on the roll to close it. And I've seen sometimes that it got loose because it was all too wet or not enough. So I advise you put a rubber band around the film. Otherwise, if the paper gets loose, the film will open like this, and some light leak from the extremity will appear, and that will be, you will lose it. So maybe you put it in a canister to keep a special box to keep your film, but then when you open the box, the problem will be there. Okay? So I advise you put a rubber band around these films. And if we speak about 135 film, like a canister film, wet may fall on the floor, and then you walk on it, and then it opens, so you lose everything. So take a lot of care with manipulation. And same thing, if you were traveling and you're going through an airport again, it will go against through the X-ray. So when you go traveling through an airport, I advise that you get informed if you will be able to find some films at destination and buy them there. So this way you go only once through the airport, you buy the film there, and that's it. And if you can develop your film there, even better, because in this case your film will never go through X-ray. When they will go, they will be as developed negative, and that will be fine. Okay, so take care with that. Transport is also a source of problems. Then you're really happy, you have your film, and then you get to the lab, whether it's a professional lab or your lab, but there are some manipulation risk again. Why? Because it's really important that you are organized, or the lab where you go is really well organized. The typical problem, the guy is in the dark room and there is no warning sign, no logs, nothing, and another guy comes in and says, hi, switch on the light, say, oh, you were here. Yeah, but my films too, and they're dead, okay? Or the films fall on the floor and the guy in the dark cannot find the film again. It may happen if the space is large, or they are not well organized and they have rubbish on the floor, and the guy cannot find the film, and that's over. If you cannot find it in the dark, no way you can switch on, not even a red light for that, okay? So really important manipulation there, and he can also scratch the film at this point, all this. So this is really important manipulation. Number 8, then ready to develop, it's important to check the chemistry. Are the product okay? Are they out of date? Are they strange, or not really see-through? They're really really dark or whatever. You have to check this, because once you put your film in this product, there's no solution, okay? If it's not properly developed, it's not properly developed. So it's really important, and also that the product has properly organized, okay? Not to mix the wrong things and the wrong bottle, all this. So check the chemistry. At last, you're developing your films, so it's important to have the right time and the right temperature. You have table to know exactly time you need to develop and temperature you need. In black and white, temperature is more flexible, but in color it's really key to have the right temperature. So this is something you have to check to make sure that everything is going fine, whether you do it or whether a lab does it. This is another point where things can go wrong also. And when it's developed, you need to fix it, and also to rinse it. Also, that may happen accident there, because the fixing product is not good, or the guy put the wrong bottle in there and he's not putting fixation product, but something else, or when washing, the water is problematic, you have too much chalk in there, or whatever. Okay, so there are many things that may happen there also when fixing and rinsing the film. Then you have drying the film. You know the famous story of Robert Capa from the disembarkment in Normandy, where they say he had only 11 pictures because the rest was burned in the dryer. Well, some people showed it was not possible, other people showed it was possible, but the thing is not here, okay? When you dry, you may have some problem too. Maybe it's not properly dried, or maybe you have some stain of water, or maybe you overheat because you're not using a dryer but a hair dryer, whatever, okay? So it's important that the drying part is also properly done, okay? Then you have your film. Well, still you may have some problems. Point number 12. Many people roll up the film again, and this is a massive mistake because you may fold the plastic, and in this case, when you will scan it or positive it with an enlarger, you will get problems. So it's important that you cut your film to the right size and you keep them in a proper system. Which is paper or a special envelope to keep your films. There are some really see-through one. Plastic, I don't like them at all because sometimes the emulsion gets stuck on it. So I recommend you use this cellophane paper that are made for that, okay? And really important, obviously, although they got safe to there, when you're going to manipulate them, whether for scanning or for enlarging, it's really important that you don't scratch them, you avoid dust, you manipulate with proper gloves so you don't damage your film that finally got up to here in good shape, okay? So it's really important to take care up to here, really. Then you have two more steps, well, two options to get the picture out of this negative, to see finally the results. One is to scan it or to make picture of the negative. I'll leave you a link here of a video I made explaining how I actually scan my pictures. So it would be for digital use, whether you will show it on TV or whatever, or on your computer, or print it in a digital system, okay? And then the other option is to enlarge it with a chemical, and also, well, you will use a negative in a chemical lab, and you will have your picture enlarged on paper. Everything can go wrong again here, but this is not a problem if the negative is okay. You can repeat this process, scanning again or trying to enlarge again, and as long as you don't walk on the negative, doesn't fall it, you don't tear it apart, you don't scratch it, no problem, you can do it as many times as you want, okay? So these two steps are not that dramatic if something goes wrong, okay? So I went to Fuerteventura, which means a strong adventure, and yes, that was a serious adventure, okay? So I'm really happy that this happened, not for the pictures, but this way I could speak about this and see how every step that may happen. I hope this will help the lab to better, and also to motivate people who want to do a film photography to be concentrated and avoid all these steps, okay? There are some problems that may be completely avoidable, so I'm going to give you a few advice, okay? It's important that when you have several films, if you bring them to a lab, and if these films are really important, like a wedding, for example, and you have 10 films, don't bring all of them at the same time. Bring one, ask when the product was changed in the machine, do a film first, see if everything goes fine, if you see everything is all right, and then bring some more. You don't have to bring everything the same day. I know everyone would love to have everything straight away, but take care with that, okay? Try to split, okay? If something was wrong, well, try to see what went wrong, or before you bring the film again, the rest of the film, or go to another lab, okay? So it's really important to check this. Also, if you do pictures yourself, develop yourself, I know that many people use a spiral that can actually charge like 2, 3, 4 films, okay? Unless you're really sure about what you're doing, don't put 2 or 3 films together, okay? Because if something goes wrong, you lose everything when developing. So do one film, if everything went right, do another one, okay? So it's important, okay? So don't try to do too much at the same time. Be careful with that, okay? And when making pictures, if these pictures are really vital, like you decide to do a wedding with film photography, use 2 cameras, alternate the cameras. Do 3 pictures like this, 3 with the other one, and try to alternate to make sure that if everything was wrong with one film or one camera, it will not affect the other one. So it's important to make sure about this. Same thing with film stocks. Even if you use the same stocks, maybe buy at different dates to make sure that not from the same batch, in case there would be a problem, okay, with the batch of film, okay, to make sure that you don't lose everything you've done, okay. And more and more photographers are back to film for a wedding. They use it as a sales tool, like I do digital film reportage, but I also do the film, and it's included in the price. Make sure you give it as a gift, because this way, if anything goes wrong, you have no commitment. Well, that was my gift, I'm very sorry, the camera went wrong, the film went wrong, everything went wrong, so I have only my digital pictures, okay? In case you really want to do film only, make sure you have several cameras and try to swap cameras and not same film stock, all this, okay? But if you want to sell it as a tool, speak about it as a gift, because things may go wrong, and that day you will regret to have sold it when you could have charged the same price for your digital reportage and gave the rest as a gift, and that's it. If you're going to go on vacation and you say, oh, I've not made any film photography for like 3 or 4 months, I'm going a month away, I'm going to do film only photography, I advise before doing that you spend some time making 1 or 2 films before going, to make sure your camera is okay, there's no light leaks, everything is fine. And in this case, if you see anything goes wrong, you can repair the camera before going, or get another camera, or not bring your camera at all. But do a film before going to make sure you're not going to go really happy with your camera, thinking everything will be fine, and everything goes wrong, okay? So, I don't want to demotivate you doing film photography. This is completely the opposite. I think like Arun Taziev, a famous volcano expert who died a few years ago, when he was asked if he was afraid when getting close to a volcano, he said, of course I'm afraid, but the interest is more important than the fact that I'm afraid, and I have to deal with it. Same thing with this. Don't be afraid of doing film photography. Just be aware of what may go wrong. So this way you are concentrating a lot more, you take care a lot more what you're doing, and there are less chances that things go wrong. But surely you understand why many professional photographers stopped sweating so much after a wedding when they started to do digital photography, because on the fly they could know what was wrong and try to solve it at this right moment, not after when they'd seen the film that was ruined, okay? So that's it. So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you liked it. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So button down here and so small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept and Sandmark, and also flashes by Westcott. Also leave you links of my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. You can also do it under any of my videos. There's a small heart with a $sign. You can make a donation there. Obviously, no obligation whatsoever. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.